The Los Angeles heat pressed down like a hand over my mouth. 102 degrees, and I was polishing windows in a mansion that could swallow my entire world whole. I pressed my palm to my forehead, wiping away sweat that kept coming back no matter how many times I tried. The infinity pool stretched before me, crystal clear and calling like a promise I had no right to accept. Trevor Ashford was in New York. 4 days gone. 3 more until he returned. I thought about my father in his hospital bed. The bills stacking higher than I could climb. The UCLA teaching degree I abandoned 6 months before graduation when cancer crashed into our lives like a freight train. The pool glittered in the sunlight. The security cameras had been disconnected yesterday. I watched the technician do it myself. Just 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes to remember what it felt like to be human instead of invisible. My hands trembled as I unbuttoned my uniform. The warm air kissed my skin as I folded each piece on the teak lounge chair. I walked to the edge. The stone was smooth under my toes. I dove in. The water swallowed me whole. Everything disappeared. The bills. The fear. The exhaustion that lived in my bones. I floated on my back, hair spreading around me like dark silk, eyes closed, face turned toward the sun. For the first time in months, I felt something close to peace. I didn't hear the car. Didn't hear the door. Didn't sense him standing there under the pergola, briefcase still in his hand, watching me like I was something he couldn't look away from. The crash of shattering pottery exploded through the quiet. My eyes flew open. My body sank deeper, arms crossing over my chest as I saw him. Trevor Ashford. Home early. Staring at me. "This can't be happening," I whispered. "Jasmine, I'm so sorry." His voice was rough, urgent. He turned away fast, hands raised. The meeting ended early. I should have called. This is my fault. I started swimming toward the edge but stopped. My uniform was feet away. Completely out of reach. "I need to leave right now. Sir, please forgive me. I should never have done this." "No." He spun completely around, facing the house. "Please don't apologize. I'm going inside right now. Take your time. This never happened." He was walking away, practically running, when he stopped at the door. He turned his head, just slightly. Not enough to see me. Just enough for me to hear him. "You looked like you belonged here. More than I ever have." Then he was gone. I climbed out, hands shaking, pulling wet fabric over wet skin. I gathered the broken vase pieces, cutting my palm on a sharp edge. Blood dripped onto white stone. I pressed my hand to my uniform and went inside to clean it up. To disappear back into the walls like I was supposed to. But when I reached the kitchen, he was standing there. White shirt sleeves rolled up. Tie loosened. Scotch glass in his hand. He looked at my bleeding palm. "Let me see that," he said quietly. "I'm fine, Mr. Ashford." "Trevor." His eyes met mine. Dark. Intense. "My name is Trevor. And you're not fine." He crossed the kitchen, took my wrist, and pulled me toward the sink. "This is not appropriate," I said, but I didn't pull away. "Nothing about this is appropriate." He turned on the water, guided my hand under the stream. His fingers were gentle. "Careful. But I'm not letting you bleed all over my kitchen because I startled you." The water ran cold. His thumb brushed the edge of the cut. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "For using the pool. For everything. Don't." His jaw tightened. "Don't apologize for taking one moment of something that should have been yours all along." He grabbed a clean towel, wrapped my hand carefully. We stood too close. Close enough that I could smell his cologne. Close enough to see the exhaustion in his eyes. Why did you come back early? I asked. The deal fell apart. His voice was flat. Empty. 3 months of work. Gone in 5 minutes because some investor got cold feet. I'm sorry. Are you? He looked at me then. Really looked at me. You don't know me, Jasmine. You clean my house. I sign your checks. You have no reason to care if my deal fell apart. Maybe I do anyway. Something flickered in his expression. Something dangerous. You should go home, he said. But he didn't let go of my hand. I should finish my work. I'm giving you the rest of the day off. With pay. I don't need charity. It's not charity. His thumb brushed over the towel, over my wounded palm. It's self-preservation. I don't understand. He finally released my hand. Stepped back. Put distance between us that felt like miles. If you stay here right now, Jasmine, I'm going to do something we'll both regret. The air between us crackled with something I couldn't name. Something that made my heart race and my breath catch. What would you regret? I heard myself ask. He stared at me. His jaw worked. His hands clenched at his sides. Everything, he finally said. And nothing. He turned and walked away, leaving me standing in his kitchen, hand wrapped in his towel, world tilting on its axis. I should have left then. But I didn't. I followed him. He was standing in his study, staring out the floor-to-ceiling windows at the city sprawling below. His shoulders were rigid. Tense. Why did you follow me? He asked without turning around. I don't know. You should leave, Jasmine. You already said that. I meant it. Then why are you still standing there? He turned then. The late afternoon sun caught his face, highlighting the shadows under his eyes, the line of his jaw, the way he looked at me like I was something both wanted and forbidden. Do you know what I thought when I saw you in that pool? His voice was low. Dangerous. I thought you looked free. Like you'd finally stopped carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders for 5 goddamn minutes. I shouldn't have been there. No. He crossed the room toward me. Slowly. Deliberately. You should have been there every day. You should swim in that pool whenever you want. You should live in a house like this, not clean it. That's not my reality. Why not? I laughed. It came out bitter. Because I'm the housekeeper. Because I take 3 buses to get here every morning. Because my father is dying and I dropped out of college to pay his medical bills. Because people like me don't get to live in houses like this, Trevor. We just make them clean for people like you. Something fierce flashed in his eyes. Don't do that. Don't reduce yourself to your circumstances. That's easy for you to say when you've never had to choose between your dreams and keeping someone you love alive. The words hung between us, sharp and true. He stopped inches away from me. My father built a real estate empire and then gambled it all away before I turned 21. I was working 3 jobs while finishing my MBA, sleeping 4 hours a night, rebuilding everything he destroyed one deal at a time. I know what it's like to sacrifice everything for survival. I stared at him. I didn't know. No one does. That's not the story people want to hear about Trevor Ashford. They want the billionaire who makes it look easy. Not the scared kid who almost lost it all. He reached up, his hand hovering near my face but not quite touching. You terrify me, he whispered. Why? Because for 2 years you've been invisible to me. Just part of the house. The person who makes sure everything runs smoothly while I pretend I have my life together. And then I see you in that pool, and suddenly you're the only thing I can see. My breath caught. This can't happen. I know. You're my employer. I know. If anyone found out, I'd lose everything. I know. His hand finally touched my cheek. Gentle. Reverent. Tell me to stop. I should have. Every logical part of my brain screamed at me to walk away. But I'd been invisible for so long. Responsible. Careful. Always putting everyone else first. Just this once, I wanted to be selfish. Don't stop, I whispered. He kissed me then. Soft at first, like he was afraid I'd disappear. Then deeper, more urgent, like he was trying to memorize the taste of me. His hands tangled in my damp hair. My fingers gripped his shirt. The kiss was everything I shouldn't want and everything I needed. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, reality crashed back in. This is insane, I said. Completely. We can't do this. I know. I mean it, Trevor. I can't lose this job. My father needs me. I can't risk everything for whatever this is. He stepped back, running his hand through his hair. You're right. You're absolutely right. This was a mistake. The word stung even though I'd been thinking the same thing. I should go, I said. Jasmine, wait. I stopped at the door. Come to dinner with me. Tonight. Not as my housekeeper. Just as you. That's impossible. Why? Because I'm still your housekeeper tomorrow morning. And the morning after that. And every morning until I can find something better. We can't pretend this is normal. Then let's be honest about how abnormal it is. He crossed back to me. One dinner. No pretending. No lying about what this is or isn't. Just two people who can't stop thinking about each other. You don't know me. I want to. This will end badly. Probably. He smiled, and it was sad and beautiful and real. But I've played it safe my entire life, Jasmine. Built walls so high nobody could get close enough to hurt me again. And then you float into my pool like some kind of dream, and suddenly safe is the last thing I want to be. I should have said no. Should have walked out that door and never looked back. One dinner, I heard myself say. One dinner. And then we forget this ever happened. If that's what you want. But we both knew it was a lie. 3 hours later, I was in a black dress I'd borrowed from my roommate, sitting across from Trevor Ashford in a restaurant I could never afford, pretending I belonged in a world that would never accept me. Tell me about the teaching program, he said, cutting into his steak. It doesn't matter anymore. It matters to you. I can see it in your eyes every time you mention it. I took a sip of wine. Expensive wine that tasted like velvet. I wanted to teach high school English. Change lives. Make a difference. All the idealistic crap you think before the world shows you what actually matters. Which is survival. Money. Keeping the people you love alive long enough to say goodbye. That's bleak. That's honest. He leaned back in his chair, studying me. What if you could finish? I can't. What if you could? Trevor, I can barely afford rent. My father's medical bills are crushing me. I work 60 hours a week and it's still not enough. UCLA is a fantasy I can't afford to have anymore. What if someone paid for it? The words hung in the air like a bomb about to detonate. No. I put my fork down. Absolutely not. Why not? Because then I'd owe you. Because it would make this, I gestured between us, into something transactional. Something dirty. Or it would be someone with resources helping someone with dreams. I'm not a charity case. I never said you were. His eyes were intense. Serious. I'm saying I have money I don't need and you have a dream you abandoned for someone else's survival. Let me help. And what do you want in return? The question came out sharp. Accusatory. He flinched. Nothing. I want nothing in return. People like you always want something. People like me? His voice went cold. You don't know me either, Jasmine. You've decided I'm just another rich bastard who wants to buy something he can't have. Maybe you're right. Or maybe I just met someone who reminds me what it's like to care about something other than the next deal. I stood up. I should go. Sit down. Excuse me? Please. His voice softened. Sit down. I'm sorry. You're right to be suspicious. I'm basically a stranger offering to pay for your education after kissing you in my study. It sounds like every bad Lifetime movie ever made. Despite everything, I almost smiled. I sat back down. I don't want your money, Trevor. Okay. I mean it. I believe you. He paused. But the offer stands. No strings. No expectations. Just help from someone who can afford to give it. Why? Because I've spent 10 years building an empire and I have nobody to share it with. Because watching you sacrifice your dreams for someone else's survival makes me want to be better than I am. Because maybe if I help you, I can forgive myself for all the people I couldn't help when I was clawing my way up. The raw honesty in his voice cracked something open in my chest. I need to think about it, I finally said. Take all the time you need. We finished dinner in comfortable silence. He drove me home, which felt both intimate and surreal. When we pulled up to my apartment building, he stared at the graffiti-covered walls, the broken security gate, the flickering street light. This is where you live? His voice was quiet. Yes. Jasmine. Don't. I reached for the door handle. Don't look at me like that. This is my life. It's not perfect, but it's mine. I wasn't judging. Yes, you were. He caught my wrist gently. I was thinking about how different our worlds are. And how much I want to bridge that gap anyway. I looked at him. Really looked at him. Past the expensive suit and the perfect hair and the carefully constructed image. I saw the scared kid who rebuilt his father's empire. The lonely billionaire who kissed his housekeeper because she made him feel something real. This can't work, I whispered. I know. We're from different worlds. I don't care. You will eventually. He leaned across the console, his hand cupping my face. Maybe. But right now, in this moment, all I care about is seeing you again. Trevor. Tomorrow night. Dinner at my place. I'll cook. You cook? I'm full of surprises. He smiled. Say yes. I should have said no. Should have walked away from this beautiful disaster before it consumed us both. Yes, I whispered. He kissed me then. Soft and sweet and full of promise. When I finally pulled away and walked into my building, I could feel him watching until I disappeared inside. I didn't know then that everything was about to fall apart. I didn't know that someone was already watching us. And I definitely didn't know that Trevor's business partner had a plan that would destroy us both. The next 2 weeks blurred together like a fever dream. Trevor cooked for me every night after my shift ended. We talked until 2 a.m. about everything and nothing. He kissed me in his kitchen, his study, against the windows overlooking the city lights. We didn't sleep together. Not yet. Like we both knew crossing that final line would make whatever we were building impossible to walk away from. My father's condition stabilized. The new treatment was working. I started to believe maybe, impossibly, things might actually work out. I should have known better. I was restocking the bathroom cabinets when I heard voices in Trevor's study. Male voices. Tense. You're making a mistake, Trevor. My personal life is not your concern, Marcus. Marcus Chen. Trevor's business partner. The man who helped him rebuild his father's empire. I'd seen him twice, always perfectly dressed, always watching everything with cold, calculating eyes. Your personal life becomes my concern when it threatens our business. When it threatens everything we've built. She has nothing to do with the business. She's your housekeeper, for God's sake. Do you know how this looks? I don't care how it looks. Well, you should. Marcus's voice went sharp. We have investors asking questions. Partners wondering if Trevor Ashford has lost his edge. And now you're playing house with the help? Watch yourself, Marcus. No, you watch yourself. Because while you've been distracted playing pretty woman, I've been keeping our deals from falling apart. I've been managing the optics. I've been doing your job. Silence. Heavy and dangerous. What do you want, Marcus? End it. End it now before this becomes a public embarrassment. Before it costs us everything. And if I don't? Then I'll end it for you. The threat hung in the air. Cold. Real. You wouldn't dare. Try me. I've invested too much in this company to watch you throw it away for some girl you barely know. End it, or I will. And trust me, my way will be much less pleasant for everyone involved. I backed away from the door. Heart pounding. Hands shaking. Trevor found me in the kitchen 20 minutes later, loading the dishwasher with trembling fingers. Jasmine. I didn't turn around. I should finish my work. Look at me. His hand touched my shoulder gently. Please. I turned. His face was drawn. Exhausted. Older than he'd looked 2 weeks ago. I said quietly. I heard everything. Then you know Marcus is an ass. He's right though, isn't he? This is damaging your business. Your reputation. I don't care. You should. I pulled away from his touch. You worked too hard to rebuild everything to lose it because of me. You're worth more than any business deal. You don't know that. You barely know me, Trevor. We've had dinner and conversations and kisses, but you don't actually know me. Not really. Then let me. He caught my wrist. Let me know you. All of you. And watch your empire crumble while your business partner plots against us. That's not love, Trevor. That's self-destruction. Maybe I need a little destruction in my life. No. I pulled my hand free. No, you don't. You need stability. Success. The life you fought so hard to build. You don't need some housekeeper who can't even afford her own father's medical bills dragging you down. Don't do that. Don't make yourself small. I'm not making myself anything. I'm being realistic. He stared at me. Understanding dawned in his eyes. You're running. You're scared so you're running. I'm being smart. You're being a coward. The word landed like a slap. I felt tears burn behind my eyes but refused to let them fall. Maybe I am, I said quietly. But at least one of us is thinking clearly. I walked toward the door. Grabbed my bag. Stopped. I quit. Jasmine, no. I'll finish out the week. Give you time to find someone else. But I can't do this anymore. I can't clean your house and pretend we're not happening and watch your life fall apart because of me. My life isn't falling apart. Not yet. But it will. Marcus will make sure of it. And I refuse to be the reason you lose everything you worked for. I left before he could respond. Walked out into the bright Los Angeles afternoon with tears finally streaming down my face. I didn't go back the next day. Or the day after that. I sent a formal resignation email. Professional. Cold. Final. Trevor called 17 times. I didn't answer. On the third day, someone knocked on my apartment door. I opened it, expecting Trevor. Instead, Marcus Chen stood there in a $3,000 suit, looking completely out of place in my shabby hallway. "Ms. Rivera. We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you." "Then listen." He pushed past me into my apartment, looking around with barely concealed disdain. "This is about Trevor. And about ensuring you don't ruin his life any further." I quit. "Isn't that what you wanted?" "Quitting isn't enough." He pulled an envelope from his jacket. "I need you gone. Completely. Out of Los Angeles. Out of Trevor's life permanently." He dropped the envelope on my coffee table. It landed with a heavy thud. "There's $50,000 in there. Enough to pay off your father's medical bills and get you started somewhere else. Somewhere far from here." I stared at the envelope. $50,000. The kind of money that could change everything. "You're bribing me. I'm offering you a solution to your problems and mine. You take the money. You disappear. Trevor moves on. Everyone wins. Except Trevor doesn't get a choice. Trevor is thinking with his heart instead of his head. Someone needs to make the smart decision for him. That someone is me. He'd hate you if he knew. He'll thank me eventually." Marcus moved toward the door. "You have 48 hours to decide. Take the money and leave. Or stay and watch me destroy any chance you have of rebuilding your life. I have connections at every major hospital in Los Angeles. One phone call and your father gets moved to a facility with much worse care. One phone call and you'll never work in this city again." The threat was clear. Real. Terrifying. "You're a monster. I'm a businessman protecting my investment." He smiled. "Cold. Empty. 48 hours, Ms. Rivera. Choose wisely." He left. I stared at the envelope for 3 hours. $50,000. My father's life. My future. All I had to do was betray the first person who'd made me feel something real in years. My phone rang. Trevor. Again. This time, I answered. "Jasmine, thank God. Where are you? We need to talk." "I know." My voice was flat. "Dead." "We do. I'm coming over." "No. Meet me at the house. Tonight. 8 o'clock. Silence. Then, quietly, "Okay. I'll be there." I hung up. I stared at the envelope. And I made my choice. At 8 o'clock, I walked into Trevor's house for the last time. He was waiting in the living room, pacing, his hair disheveled like he'd been running his hands through it for hours. "Jasmine." He crossed to me in 3 strides. "These last few days have been hell. I thought I'd lost you." "You have." The words came out cold. "Practiced. This was a mistake, Trevor. All of it." His face went pale. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about reality. You and me. We don't work. We were never going to work. I got caught up in some fantasy of being with someone like you, but it's not real. None of this is real." "That's not true." "It is." I stepped back when he tried to touch me. "I'm your housekeeper. You're a billionaire. We exist in completely different worlds." I let myself forget that for a few weeks, but Marcus helped me remember. "Marcus?" His eyes went sharp. "What did Marcus do?" "He showed me the truth. That I'm holding you back. That this thing between us is destroying everything you worked for. I don't care about any of that." "Well, I do." I lifted my chin, channeling every ounce of strength I had left. I care about keeping my dignity. About not being some rich man's charity case or rebellion against his perfect life. I quit because I need to move on. Find something real. Someone real. And you're not it. The lie tasted like poison. His face crumbled. Just for a second. Then hardened into something cold and distant. I see. His voice was ice. This was all just a game to you. A way to pass the time. Yes. You didn't feel anything real. No. You're lying. He stepped closer. Look me in the eye and tell me you felt nothing. That every kiss, every conversation, every moment meant nothing. I looked him dead in the eye. It meant nothing. The silence that followed was deafening. Get out, he finally said. Quiet. Broken. Get out of my house and don't come back. I turned and walked away. Made it to my car before the tears came. Made it 3 blocks before I had to pull over because I couldn't see through the sobbing. I destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me to protect him. And he'd never know. The next morning, I took Marcus's money. Paid my father's medical bills. Started packing my things. I'd leave Los Angeles. Start over somewhere else. Bury the memory of Trevor Ashford and the possibility of something real. I was loading boxes into my car when my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Ms. Rivera? This is Dr. Morrison from St. Vincent's Hospital. I'm calling about your father. My blood went cold. What's wrong? I'm very sorry to inform you that your father passed away 20 minutes ago. There were complications with his treatment. We did everything we could. The world tilted. Stopped. Shattered. No. No, that's not possible. He was stable. The treatment was working. I'm so very sorry. If you could come to the hospital, there are arrangements we need to discuss. I don't remember hanging up. Don't remember driving to the hospital. Don't remember anything except the moment I walked into that room and saw my father's body, pale and still and gone. The nurse handed me his belongings. His wallet. His watch. A note. The note was in my father's handwriting, shaky but legible. Mija. If you're reading this, I'm gone. Please don't mourn too long. Live your life. Be happy. Find love. Don't let my death trap you in grief. You sacrificed enough for me. Promise me you'll let yourself be happy now. I love you. Always. Papa. I collapsed. Right there in that sterile hospital room, I broke apart completely. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Told you I had connections at every hospital. Should have taken the money and left when I gave you the chance. This is what happens when you don't listen. And Trevor? He just announced his engagement to Senator Whitmore's daughter. Congratulations on your choices, Ms. Rivera. Below the text was a photo. Trevor and a beautiful blonde woman, her hand adorned with a massive diamond ring, both smiling at a camera. I stared at the photo. My father was dead. Trevor had moved on. And I had $50,000 in blood money that couldn't fix any of it. I'd sacrificed everything. And lost anyway. 3 months later, I was living in Seattle. Working as a barista. Barely functioning. Drowning in grief and regret so deep I could taste it every morning when I woke up. I'd stopped thinking about Trevor. Or I'd tried to. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his face when I lied to him. The way he looked at me like I'd ripped his heart out. Because I had. The coffee shop was empty when she walked in. Blonde. Beautiful. Expensive clothes. The woman from the photo. Senator Whitmore's daughter. Trevor's fiancée. She walked straight to the counter and looked at me with ice-blue eyes. Jasmine Rivera? My blood went cold. Who's asking? My name is Victoria Whitmore. I believe you know my fiancé. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie. She leaned against the counter. Trevor talks in his sleep. Says your name. Over and over. Like a prayer or a curse, I can't tell which. I couldn't breathe. He's engaged to you. He moved on. Did he? She laughed, and it was bitter. He proposed to me 4 days after you left. Drunk. Desperate. My father pushed for it because it's good for business. Trevor went along with it because he was broken. Because you broke him. I left to protect him. From what? From his business partner. From losing everything he worked for. From me ruining his life. Marcus Chen. She said the name like a curse. That snake has been poisoning Trevor for years. Whispering doubts. Manufacturing crises. All to maintain control. What are you talking about? Victoria pulled out her phone. Showed me a recording. Marcus's voice, crystal clear. The Rivera girl needs to go. I don't care how you do it. Pay her off. Threaten her. Whatever it takes. Trevor's distraction is costing us deals. Once she's gone, I can finally move forward with the Westport merger. Trevor doesn't need to know about the kickbacks or the offshore accounts. He just needs to sign the papers. The recording continued. Marcus talking to someone about manipulating Trevor. About using me as a distraction. About plans to push Trevor out of his own company once the engagement to Victoria was official. He's been planning this for 2 years, Victoria said quietly. Using me. Using you. Using Trevor's trust against him. I only found out a month ago when I overheard him on the phone. Why are you telling me this? Because Trevor is dying inside. Because this engagement is a sham and we both know it. Because Marcus threatened my father to force this wedding, and I'm done being a pawn in his game. She straightened. And because I think you actually love Trevor. Which is more than I can say. I destroyed him. I took money to leave. I told him I felt nothing. Did you take the money? Yes. Smart. Marcus would have destroyed your father's care if you hadn't. He probably did anyway out of spite. The words landed like bullets. What? Victoria's expression softened. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said it like that. But I had someone look into your father's death. The complications he experienced? They were caused by a medication error. A medication that should never have been administered with his treatment. An error made by a nurse who suddenly came into $50,000 and quit 3 days later. The world tilted. Stopped. Shattered all over again. Marcus killed my father. Marcus killed your father to punish you for not leaving fast enough. And to make sure you never came back. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Couldn't feel anything except rage so pure it burned through the grief like wildfire. Why are you telling me this now? Because the wedding is in 2 weeks. Because Marcus is planning to force Trevor to sign over control of the company the day after. Because I refuse to marry a man who loves someone else while a sociopath destroys everything. She put a card on the counter. This is my lawyer's information. She's been gathering evidence against Marcus for weeks. Fraud. Embezzlement. Conspiracy. Maybe even manslaughter if we can prove what he did to your father. What do you want from me? I want you to come back to Los Angeles. I want you to tell Trevor the truth. All of it. I want to watch Marcus Chen go down in flames. She smiled, and it was sharp as glass. And then I want to break off this engagement and go live my own damn life without my father or Marcus or anyone else controlling it. Trevor hates me. Trevor loves you. He's just too stubborn and hurt to admit it. Victoria headed for the door, then stopped. You get one chance to fix this, Jasmine. One chance to save Trevor and yourself and get justice for your father. What you do with it is up to you. She left. I stared at the card. At the possibility of truth. Of justice. Of Trevor. 2 days later, I was on a plane to Los Angeles. Victoria's lawyer met me at the airport. Her name was Sarah Chen, no relation to Marcus, and she had a file 3 inches thick detailing every illegal thing Marcus had done in the past 5 years. We have him, Sarah said. But we need Trevor to press charges. And he won't listen to anyone. Victoria thinks he'll listen to you. He won't. You won't know unless you try. That night, I stood outside Trevor's mansion. The place where everything started. Where I dove into his pool and changed both our lives. The security guard didn't recognize me. I gave him my name. Waited. 5 minutes later, Trevor appeared at the gate. He looked thinner. Older. Haunted. What are you doing here? His voice was ice. I need to talk to you. We have nothing to say to each other. Marcus killed my father. The words stopped him cold. What? Marcus Chen killed my father to punish me for not leaving Los Angeles fast enough. He threatened me. Bribed me. And when I didn't disappear fast enough, he murdered my father and made it look like a medical error. Trevor's face went white. That's insane. Is it? Is it really insane to think that your business partner who threatened to end us, who pushed you into a fake engagement, who's been embezzling from your company for years, would kill someone to maintain control? You're lying. I'm not. I pulled out my phone. Played Victoria's recording. Watched Trevor's expression crumble as he listened to Marcus's plans. When it finished, silence. He's been using me, Trevor said quietly. This whole time. He's been using me. Yes. And you. He looked at me. Really looked at me. He threatened you. That's why you left. That's why you lied. I thought I was protecting you. I thought if I walked away, you'd be safe. I didn't know he'd take everything from me anyway. Trevor's jaw clenched. I'm going to destroy him. We're going to destroy him, I corrected. Together. He stared at me for a long moment. Then opened the gate. Come inside. Tell me everything. We sat in his study for 3 hours. I told him everything. Marcus's threats. The money. My father's death. The engagement I knew was fake. Trevor listened. His face hardened with each revelation. I'm sorry, he finally said. For not protecting you. For not seeing what Marcus was doing. For proposing to Victoria when I should have fought for you. You didn't know. I should have. He took my hand. The first time he'd touched me in 3 months. I should have trusted what we had. Instead, I let my hurt convince me you never cared. I cared. I still care. Even after everything. Especially after everything. He pulled me close. Pressed his forehead to mine. We're going to make him pay for what he did. To you. To your father. To us. How? By taking away everything he wants. The company. The control. His freedom. Trevor called Victoria. Then his lawyers. Then the police. By midnight, we had a plan. By morning, Marcus Chen's world was about to implode. And Trevor and I? We were finally on the same side of the truth. The wedding was in 12 days. Marcus had no idea what was coming. But he was about to find out that crossing Trevor Ashford was a mistake. Killing an innocent man to cover his tracks? That was unforgivable. And we were going to make sure he paid for every single thing he'd done. The wedding venue was stunning. White roses everywhere. Crystal chandeliers. 200 guests in designer clothes waiting for a ceremony that would never happen. Marcus stood near the altar, checking his watch. Confident. Controlled. Completely unaware. Trevor was supposed to be in the groom's suite. Instead, he was in the security office with me, Victoria, Sarah Chen, and 3 detectives from the LAPD. Ready? Victoria asked. She looked beautiful in her bridesmaid dress. Radiant. Free. Let's end this, Trevor said. We walked into the ceremony together. All of us. The detectives. The lawyers. Me in a simple black dress that felt like armor. The music stopped. Everyone turned. Marcus's expression shifted from confusion to concern to cold rage in the span of 3 seconds. What's going on? Senator Whitmore stood from the front row. Trevor, what is the meaning of this? The meaning, Trevor said, his voice carrying through the silent room, is that there's not going to be a wedding today. Because I'm not marrying your daughter under false pretenses orchestrated by a criminal. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Trevor, have you lost your mind? Marcus stepped forward. Smooth. Controlled. You're having pre-wedding jitters. Let's talk about this privately. I don't think so. Sarah Chen moved forward, flanked by the detectives. Marcus Chen, you're under arrest for embezzlement, fraud, conspiracy, and suspicion of manslaughter in the death of Eduardo Rivera. The room exploded. People shouting. Marcus backing away. Victoria's father demanding explanations. This is insane, Marcus said. Trevor, tell them this is insane. Is it? Trevor pulled out his phone. Played the recording. Marcus's voice filled the venue, confessing to everything. The threats. The bribes. The plans to destroy me and my father. The offshore accounts. The fraudulent deals. Marcus's face went white. Then red. Then twisted with rage. You have no proof. That recording could be fake. You have nothing. We have 5 years of financial records, Sarah said calmly. We have testimony from 3 witnesses you attempted to bribe. We have the nurse who administered the wrong medication to Eduardo Rivera and has agreed to testify that you paid her $50,000 to do it. We have emails. Bank transfers. Everything. The detectives moved forward. Marcus ran. He made it 3 steps before Trevor tackled him to the ground. That's for Jasmine's father, Trevor said quietly, his fist connecting with Marcus's jaw. That's for every lie you told me. And this, another punch, is for thinking you could destroy the woman I love and get away with it. The detectives pulled Trevor off. Handcuffed Marcus. Read him his rights while he screamed about lawyers and conspiracy and lies. Senator Whitmore stood there, face red, demanding answers. Victoria walked up to her father. Calm. Composed. The engagement is off. The wedding is cancelled. And if you ever try to control my life again, I'll make sure every reporter in Los Angeles knows about your connection to Marcus's schemes. She turned to Trevor and me. Good luck. You two deserve each other. In the best way possible. Then she walked out. Head high. Finally free. The guests dispersed. Shocked. Confused. Already pulling out phones to spread the gossip. Trevor and I stood in the middle of the empty venue, surrounded by white roses that would never celebrate a lie. I'm sorry, he said quietly. For all of it. For not protecting you. For believing your lies. For proposing to Victoria when I should have fought for you. You didn't know. I should have. He took my hands. I let my hurt blind me to the truth. I let Marcus manipulate me for years because I was too busy building an empire to see what he was really doing. And I almost lost you because of it. You didn't lose me. I'm right here. Are you? After everything that's happened? After everything you've been through because of me? I stepped closer. Close enough to see the gold flecks in his brown eyes. Close enough to remember what it felt like to kiss him in his study 3 months ago. My father's last words to me were about being happy. About not letting grief trap me. About finding love. Tears slipped down my cheeks. I spent 3 months thinking I'd destroyed my only chance at that. Thinking I'd sacrificed everything for nothing. But Marcus didn't win. He's going to prison for what he did. And I'm standing here with you, choosing happiness over grief. Choosing us over fear. I love you, Trevor said. Raw. Honest. Real. I've loved you since I saw you floating in my pool like you finally belonged somewhere. I loved you through the lies and the hurt and the 3 months of hell. And I'll love you for whatever comes next if you'll let me. I love you too. Even when it was stupid. Even when it hurt. Especially now. He kissed me then. Not in his study. Not in secret. Right there in the middle of a cancelled wedding, surrounded by flowers meant for someone else, in front of anyone who might still be watching. It was perfect. We pulled apart when Sarah cleared her throat behind us. Sorry to interrupt, but we need statements from both of you for the investigation. Of course. Trevor kept his arm around me. Anchored. Present. Real. Whatever you need. The next few weeks were chaos. Trials. Media coverage. Trevor restructuring his entire company and discovering just how much Marcus had stolen over the years. I enrolled back at UCLA. Finished my teaching degree. Trevor paid for it, and this time, I let him. Not as charity. Not as obligation. But as love. As partnership. As us building something together. 8 months later, I stood in front of my first classroom. 27 high school students staring at me with various levels of interest and skepticism. My name is Ms. Rivera, I said. And I'm going to tell you about the importance of fighting for your dreams, even when the world tells you they're impossible. I told them about dropping out. About sacrifice. About loss. About love. About fighting back when someone tries to destroy you. I didn't tell them everything. Some parts were too personal. Too raw. But I told them enough. After class, one girl stayed behind. Quiet. Small. Reminded me of myself at that age. Ms. Rivera? I just wanted to say thank you. For being honest. For showing us that it's okay to struggle and still succeed. What's your name? Sophia. Well, Sophia. You're going to do amazing things. Don't let anyone tell you different. She smiled and left. I packed up my things, walked out to the parking lot where Trevor was waiting in his car. No limo. No driver. Just him, reading a book, completely ordinary and perfect. I slid into the passenger seat. He looked up. Smiled. How was your first day? Perfect. Terrifying. Everything I hoped for. Good. He leaned over and kissed me. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us. We drove home. Not to the mansion. We'd sold it after everything happened. Too many memories. Too much pain mixed with the beauty. We bought a smaller house. Still nice. Still comfortable. But not a palace. Just a home. That night, I floated in our pool under the stars. Trevor swam over, pulled me close. Happy? He asked. Yes. No regrets? Not anymore. Good. He kissed my forehead. Because I have something to ask you. He pulled a small box from somewhere. I had no idea where he'd been hiding it. Waterproof, apparently. Jasmine Rivera. You dove into my pool and changed my entire life. You taught me what it means to fight for something real. You showed me that love is worth more than any empire. He opened the box. A simple ring. Beautiful. Perfect. Us. Will you marry me? I didn't hesitate. Yes. We got married 6 months later. Small ceremony. Close friends. Victoria came, dating a human rights lawyer and looking happier than I'd ever seen her. My father's memory present in every moment. Trevor's mother crying happy tears. No drama. No betrayal. No tragedy. Just two people who found each other in the middle of chaos and chose to build something real. Marcus went to prison. 20 years for embezzlement, fraud, and manslaughter. Trevor testified against him. So did I. Justice wasn't everything. It didn't bring my father back. But it was something. 5 years later, Trevor and I stood on our terrace, watching our 3-year-old daughter splash in the pool. She had his eyes. My determination. All the possibility in the world spread out before her. Think she'll turn out okay? Trevor asked, his arm around my waist. I think she'll turn out extraordinary. Like her mother. Like both her parents. Our daughter shrieked with laughter as she jumped into the water. Fearless. Free. Everything we fought for her to be. I thought about that day 5 years ago. When I dove into a pool I had no right to use. When I let myself have 5 minutes of freedom. When everything changed. Sometimes the smallest acts of rebellion lead to the biggest transformations. Sometimes taking one stolen moment changes everything. Sometimes love finds you in the most impossible places. And sometimes, despite the betrayal and the loss and the pain, you get your happy ending after all. Trevor kissed my temple. I love you. I love you too. Our daughter called for us to watch her swim. We dove in together. The end.